So the next part, I just grabbed my phone and I'm going to make another video. Hopefully this won't be 9 minutes long, but I'm going to make a candid response to this. Now, I mean, personally, like I said, I don't really take people who do the trolling seriously, but I'm gonna do a candid response. I'm gonna try to do some commentary, and hopefully this will be productive. Hopefully somebody will get something out of this. So anyway, so in my first one, I talked about how there's a debate. I gave a little bit of synopsis to it, and then I ended with Ayn Rand being opposed to cults and religions. Therefore, it's absurd to say that she advanced a Jewish conspiracy. Okay, and I'm not condemning the term conspiracy. There are conspiracies that certainly go on, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started with this. So I'm going to scroll down here, so excuse the silence as I do this, because I'm going to read this, and I mean, a lot of this is not relevant. So, okay, so okay, so I'm just going to read little bits of it. So this dude says, you are #1 fan of super Jew Ayn Rand and her very Jewish philosophies. And I said, objectivism is not Jewish, you moron. Rand was an atheist, okay. And he says something which I don't understand. So basically, what he's saying is and actually, you know what, come to think of it, I actually got an idea. So what he is he's using an ad hominem. He says that objectivism, or somebody who reads into objectivism, is a homosexual, which is an ad hominem, obviously. But and I'm thinking that he says this a lot. Maybe it's and this is just speculation. Maybe me pushing that makes himself feel that he's a homosexual. Maybe he's just projecting that back out or something. I don't know, though. I mean, who knows? But basically, he's just saying things that don't make any sense. He says that you're Jewish if you practice Judaism, actually, and Ayn Rand absolutely practiced Judaism and advanced Jewish goals, which I've said before in my first video, and it doesn't make any sense. Like I said, objectivism philosophically is opposed to religion and cults in general, so that doesn't make any sense. And so I asked him, based on what evidence? So that's Socratic method. That's a rational thing. And he says, Atlas Shrugged is a Jewish how-to manual of homosexuality. And I mean, that's absurd, obviously. It's not. I says, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Excuse my language. Whatever. Says nothing about giving to other, which is, so in other words, what he's saying is that that being selfish is homosexual, is what he's saying. And the last video I just made hopefully cleared that up. So that's obviously BS. But again, what it is when somebody pushes that to him, maybe he feels that he's homosexual, and so now he's got to sort of project that back out. Just saying. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that maybe that's a possibility. So I said love is a very selfish emotion, which love is a selfish emotion. All emotions are selfish, and I've made videos on that before. Emotions are by nature selfish. I mean, nobody can feel exactly what you're feeling, because how you feel is a perception. It's based on, I mean, I'm not going to go into that. I mean, you're not telepathic. I mean, you're not like, you're not doing like a Vulcan mind meld with somebody and, gaining their thoughts and experiences and feelings that way. Whatever, dude. I don't know. It's just basically what it is. Basically, he's a troll. And with trolls, like I said, you don't take them seriously. And and you know, you just, like I said, you don't take them seriously. You do that. Now, the political part of it, that's something else. So if you ever watch political debates, of course, it's not about that. It's in some ways appealing to the lowest common denominator, unfortunately. And I say that kind of in a, what's the word for it? Cynical way. I don't know. I think if I was on stage having a political debate with him, I would just laugh at a lot of this. But I mean, it looks prima facie stupid. Okay, so yada yada yada. So, and again, it's a bunch of ad hominems and strawmans and. Okay, so again, he says, shows how warped you are. Love is giving and sacrifice, which I just made a video on that clarified it. And hopefully the video I made will clarify it to these two gentlemen that I just made. And of course I said, when done for the right reasons, it's not a selfish act, or not a selfless act. So having children, if done for the right reasons, is not selfless. Like I said, I just made a video on that. This is ad nauseum here. Oops. Oh, crap. Yeah. Why not? Okay. So this is important. So, he's advocating for an altruistic ethics, right? And I said, okay, let's just, like, as a thought experiment, if you want to show your version of selfless love, why not donate your kidney to a stranger? Because what I'm doing is I'm demonstrating the absurdity of that. And then what he says is basically it's a fallacy of absurdities is what he's saying. And, I did that to show him his point, okay? Love is selfish. Okay, you cannot properly love somebody without having reasons to love that person. Okay, now everybody loves each other for different reasons. A child loves his parents for different reasons. A parent loves his child for a different set of reasons. Men and women love each other for different reasons. But love is selfish. Okay, you can't just go on loving anybody, right? This back in the 60s, the whole free love thing is BS, okay? It doesn't work, okay? To say that you just love anybody is to say that you don't love anybody at all, okay? Because you're giving away something that if you were to just, like, you act as if it doesn't mean anything, okay? I don't know if I clarified that. If you just love everybody, you cheapen the concept of love, and you reduce the concept of love down to something much lower than if you love a selectively few people. And love is selfish, okay? If love was selfless, then it doesn't mean anything. Imagine saying that, imagine telling your partner that you love them, but you love them not because of who they are, okay? Or you love them, but you also really don't like them at the same time, okay? That just doesn't make any sense. So, there's always at least some characteristics that you have to value somebody before you love them, even if it's just as simple as just being a close family member. Now, you might not like a lot of the other things about the person, but that's the way it is. Let's see. So, the gist of this is that ad hominems are not a rational argument, okay? You can't just change the subject and attack somebody. And, of course, it's not rational. And a political debate obviously isn't rational. So, either you're finding the facts in the case by using logic, reasoning, and proper grammar. Okay, well, that's what reasoning is: logic and proper grammar and the facts and things like that, and going in order is a process of reasoning, which is the means of identifying reality. Or in politics, you're appealing to the emotions of people's convictions, which in that case, you're not appealing to reality. You're appealing to segments of the population to hopefully cobble together a coalition to get elected, right? But the basis of it still should be the facts, okay? So in politics, I would advocate for free markets. I would like to end the Federal Reserve. I would massively downsize the government. I would get the government out of people's daily lives as much as possible. And of course, I would protect people's property rights, okay, in their lives. So I would be, maybe I'd be labeled a quote unquote tough on crime type of person, but it's actually just the opposite. It's because I care about, people in general. You could say that I care about society, that I want to make sure there's no crime, okay, or the least amount of crime possible. I care about society so much that I want to give them a free market so that people can produce and do and make as much as they can out of themselves. Okay, so again, this is a lot of irrelevant stuff here. So the guy actually invited me. I told him, thank you for inviting me on there. He's asking me, one of the other guys asked me, how's atheism opposing Judaism, which is just prima facie retarded? Government sent billions, okay, yada yada. So he's talking about political stuff. So, and I've made other videos on that. And I talked about the Israeli lobby and, other lobbies and other countries having their tentacles in the United States. And of course, other countries as well. And the United States having their tentacles in other countries too. I'm not gonna, it's not relevant here. Let's see, how about I support it? Okay, and this is, okay. University of Solutions is flawed. Okay, so I'm a believer in having a solution to a problem. Okay, so you can always better your best. And he's saying that I'm getting angry at Pan 87, or I shouldn't have said that. Oops. Whatever. You don't know what it means. Which, like I said, I don't get angry at something. I don't take that seriously. He says that I'm not logical. I'm just parroting Ayn Rand, which, whatever. You want to say I parrot Ayn Rand, whatever. But what I'm doing is logical because I'm asking questions. I'm getting down to the essence of things. I think the problem with a lot of people, including the people that I'm discussing this with, is a lot of people don't practice getting down to the essence of something. And like everything else, it takes practice doing. And I very much encourage people to do that, to get down to the essence of a problem. And I don't think these two people do that. That's a video of in itself. I'll give you some pointers about how to do that. It's very important if you formulate your own concepts and to understand the world around you is, you have to find the one in the many. What's the one origin that causes a lot of other problems? You probably heard of this, such and such is not a problem. It's a symptom of a problem. It's like that. So you keep going, keep peeling the layers of an onion down until you get to the bud of the onion, which is the cause, which is the principle of the onion, which is the essence of the onion. So think of it like that. All right. So let's see. So what he's saying is that these two people think that they beat me in a debate, which is absurd. He's saying that you cannot escape your own primitive instincts. Well, human beings are rational animals. or rational beings because they have to be. They have no choice. Human beings cannot exist as animals. Okay, we have big brains because we are adapted to control our environments. Human beings are unique because we manipulate our environments to suit our needs instead of us manipulating ourselves to suit the outside environment. So human beings are quite special in that way. And we're rational because we have to be rational. Okay, we necessarily must use our minds to change our environments, to produce things in our environments, to control ourselves in such a way to survive. Animals are not the same way. So when he says that human beings have primitive instincts that they have to live on is absolutely absurd. And, you know, he's reducing the concept, he's degrading the concept of what it means to be human. I mean, if you lived on your own primitive instincts, I mean, that would just be disastrous. I mean, it would be destructive, actually. I mean, can you imagine somebody living on their primitive instincts? People like that end up in prison and killed, and I mean, they live out on the streets, and you know, these are people that have kids by accident, you know, things like that. So, you know, definitely don't advocate for that, those kinds of lifestyles. He's saying that deception is a virtue, which it's not. A virtue is something that you acquire, a trait that you acquire to help you be more productive. Okay, deception does not make you more productive. A virtue is like practicing being honest with people. That's a virtue. Being productive, you know, being more productive is a virtue. Being rational, like learning how to train your thinking process so you can break things down to the essence, learning how to use proper grammar, learning how to communicate properly. Those are virtues. Okay, being deceptive is not a virtue because being deceptive doesn't produce anything for yourself or anybody else. So again, he says that he quote unquote beat me in a debate, which is absurd. And you know, the problem is that they both sort of feed on each other's, you know, irrationality. It's like they're feeding on each other's stupidity. So it's like they have their own echo chamber, and you know, I don't mind having discussions with them, but at the same time, this is like a waste of my time. Okay, whatever. I mean, this is irrelevant. Go back this for a second. No. He goes, you're entertained because you're okay. Again, he says that because honesty, rationally, like being rational, being somebody that thinks logically is akin to homosexuality, which I mean, I don't know. One has to wonder that to him, rationality is a sign of homosexuality. So that tells you maybe something about him. And so again, this is I mean, this part's probably irrelevant to that. Okay, so I think this is it, and then I see equating having a rational discussion with low testosterone. Which is an ad hominem again. That's fucking silly. Excuse my language. All right, so that's it. This is almost 20 minutes long. So, I mean, this video wasn't very productive, unfortunately, for people. I mean, it was long and drawn out and pretty dry. You know, there's little bits, you know, in there that are worth discussing. So really, it's like 2 minutes worth of, you know, information or things that are worth discussing in basically 20 minutes. So this is probably more of a response to those two individuals than everybody else, but anyway, it is what it is.